real question, Josh, is can you see my pump?
Yeah, dude, look at those thighs too.
I did arm day. Fuck you. God damn it. You never win.
Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is the affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is
What's
the
up, everybody?
affiliate
This is Josh
marketing
coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. Once again, today's episode is brought to you by our fabulous partners over at Crack Revenue. And you know, my Chat GPT read was such a hit last week, I decided to take it one step further. I said, generate a sponsorship read about Crack Revenue that includes the following points. We all know this: top adult CPA network, offers in categories like Cam's Dating, Health, and OnlyFans. Top offer is Jerkmate, Harrison's favorite offer, 14 plus years in the industry, as well as a 15% bonus on first commission when you sign up with the exclusive link in the description. But then I said, how smart is ChatGPT? So I threw in one last sentence. Also, do it in the voice of someone that's being chased by a bear through the woods. Here's what ChatGPT said. In parentheses, heavy breathing, panicked tone. Hey, are you running for your life in the wild woods right now? Well, while you're sprinting for dear life, let me tell you about something that might just save your hide. Listen up. Crack Revenue is not just your average CPA network. It's the apex predator of the adult affiliate marketing jungle. In parentheses, sticks breaking, branches snapping. With over 14 years of experience, Crack Revenue knows these treacherous paths like the back of its hand. And get this, they've got offers in categories like Cam's Dating, Health, and OnlyFans. Parentheses, distant growling. But wait, the true king of the forest, the top offer that'll make you forget you're even being chased, is none other than Jerkmate. It's the holy grail. It's the holy grail of conversions. But hold on tight, because there's more. When you sign up using the exclusive link in the description, you get a 15% bonus on your first commission. Parentheses, heavy footsteps. That's like finding a secret shortcut to safety in this bear-infested wilderness. So if you want to survive and thrive in this brutal landscape of affiliate marketing, don't wait. Parentheses, breathing heavily. Head over to Crack Revenue. Sign up with this exclusive link in the description, and let's outrun those bears together. Hurry before it's too late.
Wow, that was incredible.
Also, I'm Josh from OfferVault.com. We got Mr. Paper Call Adam Young, as well as the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, and our special guest today, Teddy Truong, CEO of Scale Up Media Agency, an owned and operated online marketing agency run by media buyers for the last 10 years with over 50 years of combined media buying experience. At Scale Up Media, they make converting calls easy. What's up, Teddy? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me. That was an amazing intro.
Josh
love
sounds
the
like he's
energy.
about to sell me a car that comes with Jerkmate. I'm impressed.
Exactly, dude. I also want to mention, guys, Crack Revenue wanted me to mention that they have a new vertical, an AI dating offer. This is perfect for you, Harrison. It allows you to create your perfect girlfriend. And if you want to have a look,
I love this show.
if you want to have a look, you can
Not
test
AI,
it out.
okay.
Candy.ai. That is interesting. I haven't looked at it, but I'm sure I'll have some fun with that later. Harrison, I know you've probably already been on it for half an hour, but
I mean,
do.
can we get like test credit or?
Yeah, I'll talk to our partners over at Crack Revenue, and I'll see what they have to say about that. Teddy, what's up, man?
You have
The
a
show's
Crack
about.
Revenue jersey
What's up?
hanging
What's
on
up?
your
No,
wall.
I got really creative. That's my.
I just would like to point out that I generally work out at 7 a.m, but for this podcast, Crack Revenue, you essentially didn't only sponsor the podcast, you sponsored my workout. I did an arms only workout. I also drank cancerous pre-workout to have
I
a
do too.
very nice cracked up pump. And I am proudly wearing your tank. And for those that like feet, I also branded with your socks.
I thought it was a
So,
What's that feet website where you sell
they
pictures of
probably
your
have Feet Finder.
Feet Finder,
on the network.
yeah.
I'm just
yeah.
guessing. I don't know.
feet mate.
But yeah, so
No,
thanks for the pump.
I'll
guys.
throw
This
out a
is-
challenge to Crack Revenue. They simply didn't pay enough money to get me to wear their swag. So renegotiate with Josh, y'all. Sorry.
I
Fun
put
fact of the
this.
day. Fun
I
fact of
put.
the day. My
Yeah,
my
go ahead.
first my first biggest campaign was adult traffic. So that's so funny, and it's still like here, you know.
Well, Teddy,
Amazing.
I want to actually ask you about your first biggest campaign and some of the first campaigns you run. I know you kind of went from standard affiliate practices to pay per call. So I'm curious, like what was the start like? What was the transition like? And what are some of the biggest like learning curves or challenges you're finding in the pay per call space?
Well, that's like a huge question
Yeah,
itself,
yeah,
the
that's like
chat.
50 questions in one. I
Yeah,
guess let's
yeah.
start with like, how did you go from standard affiliate to like pay per call?
Sure, sure. So, hmm, I think the best way to put it is I got into pay per call because the affiliate marketing industry is getting a lot tougher with good offers, right? So the financial metrics don't work as well for the affiliate these days as they used to. Now, I think with pay per call, you can kind of make your own. You're doing so much of the biz dev, you can make your own offer, make your own payout, command your own price. And I think that was one of the most alluring parts of going into lead gen and going into pay per call. Um, yeah, but to give you background, the way back in the day when traffic costs were very cheap, you could run, I ran almost every offer under the sun. So we've ran this, it wasn't crack revenue, but it was another affiliate network. We ran it under um, at that time it was Traffic Junkie or XOClick and those traffic sources back in the day. And it's cool to see that these offers still work. Like back in the day, there were cam offers, and I'm sure that these offers are relatively the same, but I bet the payouts are structured a little differently. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah, a
need to
lot of
go
the
back to the
offers these
question because
days,
that was
Teddy,
a loaded question. Yeah, go ahead.
they're structured so that the conversion has a higher payout, but it's based on
A
some type
revenue
of
occurring event.
action, some type of action that happens after registration. So they're not all soft lead offers like they used to be. They're a lot more focused on results, and so it trims down the number of opportunities, but it also trims out a bunch of the bad behavior. And to swing it back to pay per call, I mean, you and I met at a mastermind not too long ago. It was last summer. You already have a $10 million GOAT award sitting behind you on your desk. And I think that type of transition we've been seeing a lot lately. And it goes back to what I call the affiliate curse. I actually talk about that in my new book, The Pay-Per Call Revolution, which is
Yeah,
dropping here very shortly. And if anyone listening wants a free copy of this book, we'll put a Google form in the description and I'll send you a copy of the book where we teach you everything about pay per call. But the affiliate curse essentially happens constantly in marketing, and that's you build a campaign,
absolutely.
you put the effort, the time, the money, and everything into it, and then one night you wake up and it's just gone. And it happens over and over and
It's happened to
over
us so
again.
many times.
So
Oh,
many
it's
It
happened to
times.
me
hurts
at least 1,000
every
times.
time.
Yeah.
You never get used to it.
Yeah, yeah, I would say, a paper call is I'm not even trying to, boost your guy's ego or anything. Paper call is the easiest and the best path for affiliates these days, right? Because you are literally attracting customers who are interested in getting a service.
They're an
And
engaged lead that takes initiative
yeah,
to
they're
make it
they're
happen.
taking the initiative, right? So it kind of turns the tables. And now you can just focus on making great ads.
Teddy,
Over the
what are
I
over the years, Adam and I have met various businesses that are like advertisers in tons of different verticals. I'm thinking like OG, like when we used to go to Digital Summit,
Yeah.
and we meet these small businesses that are, like a home service business or like a small insurance agent, and they're like, yeah, we just buy these leads and then we call them and stuff, and that's our business. We don't want to, not interested. We don't want to buy calls, and we're like, dude, like people are gonna call you. You're gonna answer the phone. And like Mary's going to be like, hey, I'd like to purchase life insurance, or hey, I need my backyard
I need my
redone,
roof
or I
fixed.
need my kitchen remodeled. And
Yeah.
then like there's like a second, like, yeah, oh, oh, wow. Yeah. Like what are we doing? And it's like a light bulb moment. And it's
Yeah, it's a
really
light bulb moment
incredible
for
to see
sure.
that happen in real time with people.
Well, I literally just saw one of those. So we were at Home Improvement Summit up in Atlanta just yesterday, and I was on stage, and I simply talked about making your phone ring instead of buying a lead and calling a consumer and chasing them. And I literally watched epiphany after epiphany on people's faces in the audience. We had a ton of people come talk to us afterwards, and a ton of people reached out to me on LinkedIn and email afterwards. And I think the reality is, if you can get an excited consumer who picks up the phone,
Right.
calls a business, and is interested in their products and services, you're not selling anymore. Those are order takers. And
Yeah.
as an affiliate, that gives you the ability to build a real sustainable business, which is super cool. Like our friend of the pod, Anthony Sarandria, who sold his pay-per-call business for $50 million in cash to a public company. And essentially all they were affiliates. They just generated
Extremely
um
strong affiliates. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
calls that the companies actually want, right? Like very sustainable, very high quality. And so it is a really great industry for affiliates.
No, 100%. And, ever since we got in the business, it's mostly been about being about the creative again. It's transparent. You're sending a call to a call center where they're trying to field and deliver an order and deliver a product. Um, it's the most straightforward form of marketing there is, and and you get to command the price, which is in a lot of scenarios, especially when you're working direct. For instance, um, one of my we have a small client here in Nevada actually that does Medicare and does health insurance, and they have 5 agents, but literally he told me like we're changing their agents' lives just because they don't have to. The leads that are coming to them are like literally handed to them, um, and it's kind of nice to work directly with these business owners, just like you're
Can we
saying with
talk
the home.
about some of the challenges with that, Teddy? I know that a lot of people work on national campaigns, but something that I know you will do is the work, right? To go
Yeah.
actually find smaller direct buyers and do the things that most affiliates aren't willing to do. So, can we dive into some of the challenges of working with smaller buyers like that? And then also, how do you find them?
Oh, those 2 big questions. So, um, finding them, we have like a prospecting SOP, right? And finding them is really a matter of going on Google and looking at who's, for instance, health insurance or life insurance. You're literally looking for um, agencies, and they like we run a media buying agency. They're running a life insurance agency or a health insurance agency, and they're already buying leads. But most of the time, with the clients that I've talked to, they are buying leads that are unqualified. So um, I don't know who is behind their lead source, but for us, we're asking the consumer a few questions with a quiz form or using a chat bot to kind of get information from the user before sending them to the insurance agency. And so we have an SOP for prospecting. We send out a lot of emails. We send out a lot of phone calls. Pretty simple as that. But working with them is, a particular challenge because there is more management, right? So uh, it's more fun to have one client that can take thousands and thousands of calls per day versus having 15 clients that only need, 50 to 100 calls per day. And it just goes down to having your systems in place. And we kind of try to standardize every way that we work with each agency. So that way it's not so much hand holding. So we kind of put the ball in their court. We asked them to set up to give us all the specs of their campaign, what zip codes that they want to target, what kind of customer they're looking for, and then we build out the campaign that way, and we use Ringba to kind of route and filter. And
Teddy,
so,
that was a
yeah.
solid Ringba plug right there, dude.
Do you
That
have
was really good.
to do you have to like coach or guide these buyers to essentially like abandon old or bad habits? Because the mindset of an agent that's used to dialing bad data,
100%.
dialing for dollars is just dialing for dollars. You're just trying to get anyone versus like even I guess the way you handle a call,
No,
you're essentially
100%.
going from like,
Yeah.
ground beef to filet mignon. Like
Yeah, no, that's
terrible
literally
analogy,
part of
but I'll
our,
run with it.
yeah, it's literally part of our SOP to talk to them, and like part of our onboarding process, or when I'm talking to them is, look, I really just want to take the first, few calls and see how your agents are handling them. And some of these, the mid-sized agencies do know how to handle the calls pretty well. But then there's definitely a lot of insurance agents that are picking up the phone and saying, "Hi, my name is Lauren. Um, how can I help you?" And so we're trying to coach them like, "Hi, my name's Lauren. Are you looking for life insurance?" And so, that changes the conversation a lot. Or like, "Hi, my name is Lauren. I'm a licensed, life insurance agent here in Nevada. Um, are you looking for the XYZ, blah, blah, blah." And
What kind
so,
of policy are you looking for? Just like you
yeah,
engage the customer, but they're already looking for it, so you don't have to like.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And so we actually have a script that we send out, and we kind of like model for every vertical. Well, not every vertical. We only work in 3 verticals. So yeah,
Teddy, can you remind me which three verticals? I know insurance is a big one, but what are the others?
yeah, yeah, sure. So, well, in insurance is enormous, right? So we only focus on Medicare, health insurance, and debt right now. Um, And people always ask me like, why don't you do more? It's like there's just not enough capacity. There's just too much opportunity to
I
to,
think
to do that many.
a follow-up question is why those three? Like, how did you land on those three?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, right, I like to make things easy, right? So, debt, there's I think there's some ridiculous amount of money, $3 trillion in consumer debt, and it's on everybody's mind. It's a You're not trying to make your job harder. Um, it's easier to target. So, debt has been good for us. It's engaging. It's top of mind. Medicare is good for us because there's always an aging in population. Um, Health insurance is good for us because it covers everybody from, everybody on the show has health insurance. So, yeah, I think that pretty much explains it. They're just huge. They're just huge demographics. We're looking into, running auto insurance, and that is a work in progress too.
What about final expense?
Final expense. I guess it's part of the life insurance umbrella. Um, we've tried it. We've tested it. It's a little bit more challenging just because it's how do I explain it? It's something where not everybody has to have it. Like you really have to pull out the emotions out of people to kind of get them to buy final expense insurance. And it's not, let me say it this way, it's not what someone wants to have unless they know that they need it, right? It's like at the end of their life, they're finally thinking about final expense. Whereas they're probably going to get Medicare first, right? So I guess in a way, health insurance and Medicare are come up sooner in the customer's mind. Same with debt.
Teddy, I want to turn the spotlight on you for a second here. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile and I read a pretty interesting quote that basically summed up your
Sure.
whole shtick.
Yeah, yeah.
It says, if you're looking to grow your brand or business, comma, have at least $100,000 per month in budget and a bleeding edge approach, feel free to reach out to me. So, a couple things I wanted to unpack there. Where does the $100,000 per month come? And also, to be quite honest, because I'm a man of honesty, I didn't really know what a bleeding edge approach was. So I Googled it, and correct me if I'm
Sure.
wrong, but it basically comes down to
Straight marketing.
be willing to suffer some losses along the way, right?
Yeah. I kind of want to filter for clients that one have a large budget, and I think that's kind of how we want to market ourselves, to be honest. We definitely work with smaller companies, but right
You want people
now
that are like willing to get their hands a little dirty. Like
yeah, come on, let's get
try and
let's
work with you through it.
wrestle. Yeah, let's wrestle together. Let's problem solve. Um, I guess like bleeding edge for me really meant like the way that we move, right? We move very fast as a business. We we're able to do all sorts of things with our targeting. A lot of we rarely say no to good buyers, for instance. If they ask us to target only a certain set of zip codes, or if they only want a certain age range, we'll figure out a way to do it. We'll change our quiz, or the way that we qualify. And we just come up with solutions that I don't think, most media buying teams will do. So we really like the clients that have a larger budget and they're willing to, like, maybe if they need, that those a more sophisticated approach with the targeting or whatnot, we can provide that.
And Josh, I think it's important to highlight here on the budget side, for media buying, $100,000 really isn't that much money. If you're running a high volume campaign or there's lots of targeting, like Teddy's talking about, you might run a media buying campaign at 15% margin or 12% margin. And so on 100K, that's $15,000. You add in your creative development, your testing losses, your staff
Team,
that's
yeah.
doing operations,
Yeah.
account payable, account receivables, the offices, all that stuff. And on 100 grand, you might actually only clear 6. And
Yeah.
so realistically, $100,000 is not that much money when it comes to media buying if you're really going to put the effort into a campaign. And so I think, you can always charge more to the smaller customers. And this is one of the reasons why a small insurance office might pay 50% more per call or 100% more per call.
They
It's
do.
it's because the amount of work that goes into servicing those folks has a much higher overhead, and that's why the bigger budgets are more appealing. And the bigger the budget, the lower the margin. And so, I think it's important to state when Teddy says, like, yeah, we're looking for $100,000 a month, his actual profits related to that $100,000 a month isn't that much, especially at the beginning when they have to do all the work to figure out how the
100%.
campaigns work. And
We've lost money starting campaigns many
yeah,
times.
Yeah,
yeah,
there's so
absolutely.
much. Yeah, and there's a lot of risk, right, that comes with starting these smaller clients, actually. There's a lot to be said as to why some, media buying agencies charge even like a retainer for the smaller companies. Just because, for instance, like the Nevada company that we work with here in Vegas, they're a really great group of people. But of course, they're asking us for 50 to 100 calls per day. And the calls come to their call center and a lot of the calls drop. So that loss ends up on our credit cards, right? So, um, we got to charge them for that or make it up somehow. And that's, I guess, why in order to get through those hurdles, that we're to grow their call program, requires us to tackle those problems.
And do you look contractually with these small companies to cover those type of things where you actually spell it out and say, beyond a certain dropped call percentage, you'll reimburse us for X? Or do you think about it more in the overall blended cost of the call, where you're just charging significantly more and building that cost structure in?
Now, that's a great question. I have been a lot. So when I first started, I was doing the blended approach more, because I was thinking, oh, this will just be a one campaign, one smaller campaign for the big picture. But now, as we work with smaller agencies and a lot of them, I have been getting a little bit more detailed in the contracts, and I have been writing it out in like an IO type of thing. So there are some clients that they still want the business, but they can't figure out the dropped call problem. And so, we do charge them a little bit more for that, or they give it to us in a form of credits. So yeah, that's the best answer.
Teddy, do you feel like all good leaders have to be comfortable with a bleeding edge approach and moving quickly? Or like, is that something you've always had in your pocket as a human being? Or is it something you kind of acquired as you made your way up in the world and in the marketing industry?
I think, I don't want to just, I'm sure there are very, very, very strong leaders that move, a little bit more um, slowly and more
Methodically?
calmly, methodically, right? Yeah. And I believe that the industry will move extremely fast, and you need to keep up with the broader picture. But of course, you can definitely be a great leader, being more methodical. And I think that's something that I've had to do actually going into pay per call is plan more. We have to, every client kind of matters, right? If you have an agency, you can't just run traffic to one offer, right? You have to run to multiple clients, and you have to have a plan for multiple clients, and how does everybody fit into this big picture with the traffic? And so, no, I think to answer your question, I think it's extremely important to have both. But I think being able to adapt quickly is, while being methodical in the way that you do it is everything. Yeah.
Josh,
Well,
I have to ask
What
you
do you think about
really
that,
quick, Josh.
Harrison and Adam?
Well, with regards to a bleeding edge approach, I think, you know, another way to put it is that you're willing to take risks that others may not be. Like something that you said that stuck out to me is other agencies might come in and charge a retainer or setup fees. And,
Yeah.
I think it ties back to your background in performance marketing. You know that it might not be, rosy right out the gates, but because of it's going to be
Our
more
ability
lucrative in the long term to
exactly.
structure something like that versus like, hey, I'm a traditional agency, pay me 10% of ad spend or whatever,
Yeah.
which is boring in my opinion.
100%. And it actually doesn't benefit it
No,
doesn't
you're
like,
not. Your
that's how you
interests
like
aren't
have a
aligned.
very, yeah, exactly. Interests are not aligned, and your business will grow, but you're not going to go for that hockey stick growth with that flat rate, right?
Exactly.
I think all good leaders have to be good hirers and team builders. And Teddy, I'm curious, in your experience, what's the journey been like for you from going from hiring those first people on your team to building an entire internal media buying team? What are some of the things you look at when it comes to new hires, finding the right people for the long haul who are really committed to the overall success of the company?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. Um, not only do I look for people who are actually self-inquisitive as much as they are like willing and hungry to perform. People who are willing to learn from their mistakes and willing to think about their own weaknesses. I think that's been, something that I've been looking for into people, like people who are self-aware of their strengths and weaknesses. Because without that idea and understanding of where you are professionally, you can't really improve, right? I really like people who can set goals, who know what they like, are clear with themselves, like, okay, this is how I'm going to improve and how I'm going to contribute to the company. This is what I need to do personally, and this is what I need to do uh, you know out like for the company to perform. um, but that's like kind of like the core values that I look for. I mean, of course, there's other things like working hard and showing up on time and being consistent and being organized. But yeah, that's like my tidbit for the affiliate community, I guess. But building my company, building the team out. Actually, while I do think media buying is extremely important, and the most important one of the most important activities in our agency, I think the media buyers who come on, they really appreciate us because we're organized. We move quickly and we're organized. So, we're not just a bunch of, smart nerds in a room that are launching campaigns and stuff like that, right? Like we kind of have a plan. We know this is what we're going to launch for this client. This is what we're going to launch for that client. And we kind of have everything laid out from account management to tech, um, and yeah, and to financing and to like when are the credit cards going to be put on the account or how's the server set up and all these things. So yeah,
I think the reality, Teddy, is that there's a misconception that all of that organization and planning makes you go slower. And
right.
a lot of the affiliate folks are turn and burn or go as quickly as possible or the way they think as quickly as possible. And I think the way you just outlined is very similar to how we run Ringba, in that we do a lot of planning, we do a lot of structured review. We like to measure twice or three times before we cut so that we don't have
100%.
to go do it multiple times. We like to keep everything organized and structured and documented, and all of those things take time. And when you're
Yeah.
in it, it feels like you're going slower, but the
Your
tortoise won
impact
the
is
race,
huge.
not the hare.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And your impact just becomes like 10x as large when you're more planned and more intentional, right? Like one thing that I've been doing is I'm making media buyers now create an OKR, which is like an objective and key results type of page for themselves. I have them create this every 2 weeks. So they know like this is my media plan. This is what we're going to work on. I'm going to launch 5 campaigns on Facebook, 3 campaigns on Google, and in order to do that, I need to make this many creatives. I need to make this many. I need to work with this actor and actress. I need to work with this, designer. And so I break it down into a very actionable plan that's organized, that I can review, that they can review, that our project managers can review, and it keeps everyone very accountable, right? I think the that's been one of the biggest levers to our success in 2023 and into 2024 is that, we're not just like a machine that spits out ads anymore, but we know where we're going and we know that if we accomplish those measurables and if we're able to track those, then we will succeed.
That's very similar to what happened to me when I wrote the book, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So I attempted to start writing the book myself, and I, tried to organize an outline and then started working through chapters, and it's very hard. You can't go from start to finish. You kind of jump
Yeah.
around. And then I realized there has to be a team of people that understands how to actually write an incredible book. And this is a really complicated process. And so we went out and I hired a team of people that assist authors in doing this. And there's like 5 people on that team, and they all specialize. One is in copy editing, one is in formatting, one is in production
Yeah.
and layout. And I had no idea how complicated this actually was. But what they did is they broke it down into like a matrix, an actionable matrix of everything we needed to accomplish to get the job done, and a plan and a timeline that was digestible and reviewable. And so we
100%. Yeah.
we did that, and then immediately the progress started moving forward at 10x the pace. And it actually takes about a year, 16. I think we're on month 15 and we're going into print now, right? And so it takes a long time to do these things. And I had no idea all the steps that went into it until I had professionals come in and teach me the process. And I feel like in our industry, there is a lack of understanding of the process, but also a lack of desire of learning and doing the administrative portion of the business. But to actually scale anything in our industry and to build strong teams and build a sustainable business, you need to put in all the processes and then break everything down into a digestible plan where you can see a roadmap. And I think as leaders,
100%. Yeah.
A lot of leaders, we run into an issue where we have a vision and we know what we want to accomplish, and we clearly see the plan and the path to get there. And then we expect our team to see the exact same thing that we do, but they do not. And they
Right.
need us to break down our vision into a roadmap, essentially, that will help them execute and get us to our goals. And I think a lot of people in the affiliate space don't realize that that actually is the key to building a really big business, not
Right.
how great your ads are.
No, 100%. And, I used to be the type of leader that would, write in one sentence, this is what we're going to launch for the week. And then people are like, okay, great. We're just going to go ahead and launch. But they have no idea what exactly we're going to work on. And so now we've taken this big leap. And, to your point, I even share my own OKR with the team. And I say, this is what I'm working on, and this is how your work will tie into it. And I think that has been, the biggest game changer to moving to not only getting everybody in sync, but it's like that one saying, money loves speed, but also in order to go really fast, you need to sometimes slow down. And yeah, it hits your point. It's like it's exactly what you were saying. They need to know your vision, and if it's not written down and not broken down, how can you expect them to see it?
We had our agency here who does some design work for us, and we're working on a really big project right now. And the guy who runs it is really big into spirituality and breath work. And he led a breath work exercise for myself and a few of our team members that were here at the Ringba Mastermind house. And at the end, he says to visualize yourself in the future when you're old and listen for the lessons that your future self will tell you. And this was after about 45 minutes of breath work. And I was standing looking at my future self on a very large boat. Very, very, very large boat. And the advice my future self gave to me was simply two words:
Slow down.
slow down.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
I
rent
knew it.
by me.
I couldn't. I'm so happy. That's literally the same. I was playing it in my head, and I was saying the same thing. I was like, and my older self would also say the same thing. Slow down. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how you achieve velocity. It's to slow down and plan and really think through things and
Right.
use your resources wisely. And sometimes we go fast and we make quick decisions, but I always find that the more time I put into thinking about what I'm doing and the more longer the time horizon I'm thinking about, the better the outcome. And at Ringba, all of our roadmap items, we're thinking years out. All of our marketing, we're thinking years out. I mean, look, to do a book, it's 15, 16, 17 months, right? And so it's just a major undertaking. And I find that the longer the time horizon, the bigger the effect and the better outcome we will get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I think media buyers these days are, I mean, all the time, right? It's just in our blood, tend to think very short term. And it's hard to become a true leader in the space and in your vertical if you're just thinking about how much money you're going to make per day, right? I think you don't see like the guys in Silicon Valley or the large startups that who are trying to build something great talk about their revenue per day. They're talking about their yearly or their quarterly at the very least. So I think my biggest piece of advice to affiliates and media buyers, I guess, is to broaden that time horizon, because you can build so many great things and you can have your cake and eat it too, but with making a tons of money if you think about things on a larger time horizon. Instead of that daily, think about that 3 years. What can you do in 3 years?
It's interesting you mentioned this because Harrison and I were flying with a bunch of customers to Vegas recently on a giant private jet. And I was sitting there with one of our customers and we were having a conversation exactly like this, Teddy, where we were diving into how companies get run and what we can change and improve to grow them bigger and better. And by the way, for anybody listening, we do this all the time. We charter jets with our customers and we hold masterminds on jets, and basically everyone walks off and takes huge action in their business and is inspired. It's
Yeah, if
wild.
you're going to LeadsCon, the flight to Vegas is full, but I got some spots on the flight back, so just email
To
me.
Miami.
To Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to
wanna
go to
go.
Miami.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you want to go.
I might want to go. I might want to go, actually. Yeah, that sounds
Well,
great.
Josh, I actually, people will fly to Miami to fly with us to a trade show to spend the time with the other people on the jet. And I'll just comment on this before I go into the story real quick. It may sound ridiculous, but the reality is that it's expensive to fly on one of these things. And so the barrier of entry is high. And so you have to ask yourself, who's going to spend $9,000 round trip to go to a trade show on a jet when they could spend $400 on a commercial ticket? And the answer to that question is the people you fucking want to hang out with if you want to do
They
something.
want to grow their
100%.
business
Yeah,
and
exactly.
preserve the structural integrity of their back.
Yes, they've learned from all the grinding and the scoliosis.
They're like, do I take Spirit? Take the Gulfstream.
yes. But the reality is the answer to that question is the people you want to hang out with are the ones that fly on that plane. And so I was sitting there with a customer, and when we do this, we generally have one rule, and that is there's no small talk on the plane. None. It's not.
Yeah.
We're not shooting the shit. We're there with really smart people for however many hours. We don't get this opportunity to hang out in a group like that often. And so no small talk. Like it's all biz or life or important growth stuff. That's our only rule if you want to buy a ticket on the plane is that. And so I'm sitting there with one of our customers and we're talking about this same type of thing about time horizons. And I ask him, how often do you look at your stats? And he says, all the time. And I said, well, be more specific. And he's like, well, all day.
Every
like
20
whatever.
minutes,
He's like, I
right?
got the Ringba dash up. I got the other stuff up.
Yeah.
And then he stops for a second and he thinks about my question and he turns to me and goes, how often do you look at your stats? And I said, financial ones maybe once a month. And so he's like, how do you do that? And I said, well, you know, I think the reality is I have great people on our team, and we also run a conservative financial operation. And so it would take a major event that I certainly would be aware of for us to, on a random Tuesday, lose money. Like, it's not, you know, like no one is like, I'm going to spend $1 million on a Tuesday that Adam's not going to know about, right?
Know about, yeah.
So I don't actually need to look at the stats every day. I have people paying attention to our billing infrastructure and our financial infrastructure and software and all this stuff, right? So if there's a major issue,
Someone tells somebody.
yeah, I'm going to know immediately. I'm going to get a call, a text message, a Slack. If I don't answer, they're going to do one of the other things. They're going to hit up Harrison. They're going to do something. And so like I trust my team to let me know if
100%.
something catastrophic is going to happen. So I don't need to pay attention on a daily basis to the ins and outs of what's going on. And what that allows me to do is free myself from that constraint and think about what are we going to do over the next 36 months to generate $1 billion in enterprise value, right?
Right.
And
right.
you know, I had this exact conversation on the plane, and our customer was like, "Wow, okay, I need to rethink these things." And the interesting thing is like the bigger I think and the bigger we think, the more people are willing to pay attention to it, the more people want to be involved with it, and the more people are willing to help us. And the less time I spend in the day-to-day stats or the day-to-day numbers or the, oh my God, I need to day-to-day, the
Yeah.
more that opportunity horizon opens up and the more I can think about the future. And I'll give you one more example of this because it was wild that we were talking to one of our business associates and I told them I wanted to do something and they said no. And then he asked me, why do I want to do that? And I said, well, bro, like I'm trying to make billions of dollars.
Right.
There was just a pause and he thought about it for a second and he said, that's crazy. I don't even know how to comprehend that. I tell you what, we'll just do it. I'm not even going to charge you. If you really think this will help your business and help you get towards that goal you just told me, I don't even want to take your money. I'll just help you because I would love
So
to see
big.
you achieve that. And so
Right.
it went from no to I'll do it for free because I removed the constraint of the day to day, basically. I just said, look, this is what I'm trying to do. It's incredibly hard. Please help me. And I'm happy to pay. And he was like, nah, I don't want your money.
You know, something that I just thought about when you were talking about, like, you know, how often do you look at stats? I think there was a time, you know, years before Ringba where I went from, and I'll ask you this, Teddy, there was probably a pivot in your career where the term working meant just pressing F5 on your browser
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like,
I
oh shit, I did more leads, nice, more revenue. And all of us can say we've been there where it's like, well, I spent like 30 minutes optimizing some keywords in my Google campaign, and then from like 11:30 to 8 p.m. I just like listened to rap music and refreshed my stats, maybe got lunch and refreshed my stats. Uh and
right.
you know, there
No,
comes like a
100%.
pivot in any, I would say any marketer's career, but actually like any entrepreneur's career where you
You stop
learn like
worrying about,
obsessing
yeah.
over the numbers,
Yeah.
it actually can hold you back because you
It
could be
holds you
doing some
back.
other
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't even
Yeah.
know the numbers like half the time. And I actually feel sad when I talk to my media buyers and I don't have the right numbers. So they're like, oh, that's impressive that you don't even know the numbers anymore. And so
You
let's
know, you got a
review it.
problem when
And
you're
then
like your index finger is sore from pressing F5.
Well, I
yeah.
think that's the point is, and you know, Teddy, we talked about this in one of the masterminds you were at that I held, that if money is your goal, you can be rich, like you can make millions of dollars, but you're not
Right.
likely, it's much harder to grow out of that. And until you find your motivation that isn't financial, whether it be family, or otherwise, it will limit your scale. And then really the ability to unleash your potential is not anything related to financial or yourself in general. It's finding a mission that's bigger than yourself and that helps other people. And then when you're able to achieve that, it essentially removes the barriers of what you can accomplish. And that really has nothing to do with money at all. And I think that mindset is
100%.
lost on a lot of entrepreneurs, but even more so in our industry where everything is so tied to daily performance or hourly performance or performance in general. A lot of people forget to take a step back and go, wait a second, I'm still building a business. It still impacts people. How do I build a business that positively impacts people and provides more opportunities for my team? And then to get them to understand that that is the reason why I come in every day so that they're willing to participate in your mission. And I think that all really great companies do this. And you can do it as well, even though you may be a single affiliate in your parents' basement or whatever. You can adopt this mindset and it will only accelerate your progress. And so, you know, I think one of the reasons that people in our industry don't think this way a lot of the time is there aren't that many of us talking about it. And a
Yeah.
lot of us, like you, Teddy, and Harrison here, and Josh, like we've been in the industry a really long time, and it's our responsibility to teach people how to be great leaders and to do things the right way so that they can build sustainable businesses and our industry can flourish. It is our responsibility as people who have been in the industry and own businesses in it for a really long time to make sure we're professing this message and helping the future generations build something that is really awesome. Because you know what? If we didn't find this industry, I wouldn't have met my best friend and business partner. I wouldn't have found the success I've had. I wouldn't have helped thousands of people build businesses. And
100%.
that
Yeah.
to me is my life's work. And so, like, I have to give back to the industry. And I encourage anyone listening that is a leader in our industry to start talking about these things publicly on podcasts, on stage, hold events, whatever. Like, we need to teach people that our industry can be really awesome and do productive things, and that we can all grow it into something
Right.
better.
Right.
Adam and Harrison, do we have time for one more? I know you got some guys coming to work on the studio, but I really want to ask Teddy about running a creative team and what the process of
2024,
making.
Josh, we have some ladies coming to work on the studio actually.
Oh, yeah, well, it's 2024. I say guys as it could be anybody. It's not an
Sorry, I
actual
felt
guy.
really good doing
We
that.
want it done right, Josh. So we hired
Please,
some women to do
please
it.
please don't cancel me. That was a
Really
everyone
quick, off
included
topic.
guides.
Oh my
Did
gosh.
you Google bleeding edge, or did you chat GPT ask what is bleeding edge?
No, I just straight up Googled it. Teddy, I'm taking the
We're
shows.
gonna need
I'm
to
putting
polygraph
it.
this eventually. Okay, sorry, continue. Ask the question.
I'm bringing the
That's been eating
show.
at me for 30 minutes.
The show is
Oh my
officially
gosh.
back on the rails. Teddy, tell us real quick before we let you get out of here. What's it like running a creative team, and what's the process kind of look like from start to finish when it comes to making these batches of creatives and also testing them to find out which ones you feel are going to work the best?
Sure, sure. So every media buyer that I hire, I'll start with this just to give context. Every media buyer that I hire now isn't just a button pusher type of media buying person. They have the creative mind. So what I usually do is my COO, she handles most of this, but I kind of architected the version one. Our media buyers create the script themselves. So we actually create the script, and we're the ones writing it. We're the ones like actually in the trenches and kind of seeing what actors will work. Do we want a blonde middle-aged lady, and do we want a older Hispanic gentleman? And we kind of like paint the scene. And I think you wrote in here batches of creatives, and I do agree that it's important to make batches of creatives, but nowadays we're only making batches for the hooks, and the main creative stays relatively the same. Um, from there, we have actors and actresses that we hire internally, but we also now started hiring third-party agencies just because the manpower required for making so many ads has just gone a little bit too intense. And so we get everything in our SOP. We have like actor, background, scenery, and script, and then we kind of just go from there. If hopefully that answers enough of your question. But it is definitely something where you need to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours, 20 minutes talking to your team, and they come back with that feedback, with that script. And we draw it all out, and we usually give our actors and actresses 4 or 5 hooks. And we do have to coach them too. So we coach the actors and actresses how to perform and show themselves on the stage. I mean, on the camera. We also like coach the cameraman how they're going to use the camera too.
Well, Teddy, I just want to say thank you for coming on the Affiliate
Yeah.
Marketing Show, sponsored by Crack Revenue. We love you guys. For myself, Josh from OfferVault.com, Mr. Paper Call, Adam Young, the industry legend, Harrison Gevirtz, as well as Teddy Truong, CEO of Scale Up Media Agency. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.
Marketing.